back to my pedal board, pedal reviews. Just did the CS3 by Humphrey Audio, the Bass Smasher, and next up is SansAmp Programmable Bass Driver DI. Now, I don't believe that you'll find any review of this where people don't like it. It's a great DI box. I used it for a long time as a DI. I'm not using it currently as a DI. I'm just using it as a tone control. One thing that I really like to try and happen is as I go from venue to venue, I want to make sure that my tone sounds the same when I engineer it here in my room, or get my tone just how I want it. I want to make sure it stays that way, and you never know what you're going to get as you go from venue to venue. I go to venues where the type of music that we play, even just being like contemporary Christian rock or rock, if I'm doing other gigs, they don't typically house that genre, and so you may have a sound guy who's not very experienced and he doesn't know what to set the EQ on the board at, and so typically my failsafe is to have everything programmed into my SansAmp or with my tone, so worst comes to worst, I can just communicate to the sound guy, just give me a relatively flat EQ across the board. If you look at my own head for my amp, I've got a completely flat EQ there, and coming from my Ibanez BTB, I have a completely flat EQ on the bass. I literally let the SansAmp control 100% of my tone, and so that way, as long as I have it with me, my tone's going to be exactly how I want it to be. Now, if you've seen the regular SansAmp, this is exactly the same thing. It's all got all the great knobs. We have a let me get you zoomed in here. We've got a drive knob on the far left, bass, treble, presence, blend, and level. The great thing about that level knob is that you're gonna set it up the way you want a certain sound to be, and then maybe you've got another sound that you need to do mid-song. So like for example here for me, this far left one's my universal tone. It's basically what I use for pretty much everything. However, on channel 3 here, I've got more of a drive setting. That up. But either way, you get the point. The drive setting there, but if you want to do changes on the fly in the middle of a song, you want to make sure that the level is the same. So, you know, I'll get one right, which is here, my universal tone. Make sure that the levels are right, so that if I'm switching on the fly, I'm not sending the sound guy into a panic because he's like, holy crap, where did all this volume come? Then he turns me down. Then when I switch back, you can't hear me. So that's one thing you kind of have to watch over yourself. If you are going to mess around with this, use a couple different things that you get the level the same. So let's go through these knobs a little bit, and you can see this middle one here, I have basically just open for anything. So we'll just use that as our example. So let's set up something. Well, first, let me say you want to take a sound or tone that you have already and you want to modify it a little bit, but you don't want to completely ruin it. So what we can do is the way you can program this is if you watch the LED, as you change the knob, if you go away from where it was saved, it'll start blinking. It'll blink very quickly and then go steady once you get it back to where it was. So what we'll do is we'll get all the knobs set to where my number 1 setting is saved, and then we'll play with it a little bit with channel 2. Okay, so all those went solid. Now you notice as I touch each one, it'll blink and go steady, indicating that I've got that knob set, and you go on to the next one. So let's go over to number 2. Now I want to copy that signal over to number 2. So what I'll do is I'll just move it a little bit and then kind of move it back. See, it's blinking, showing it's different. Now to save it, I'm just going to double tap that button. And there it is. You saw that nice little quick flicker strobe, all 3 lights strobed there. It means it's saved. So now you can switch all between whatever you want to do. You can change the knobs, get crazy. As long as you switch away from it and switch back, it'll go right back to where it was, despite what I just did with the knob. But if I want to get it back to where it was, I can just take that knob and get it blinking steady right there. There it is. So let's see how this sounds. Sounds incredibly loud right now. Okay, that has super high level. I don't think I did that right. Hang on. Get that level down. Okay, so let's play with that drive a little bit. Now, one thing you got to make sure, if you're adjusting the drive, you're definitely going to have to adjust the level, because the drive will give it a lot of volume. So let's see here. So that drive is pretty potent. There's no need at all for me to have another drive pedal with this on my pedal board. That drive is way more than I'd ever want for anything practical. But if you're out there and you want a lot of drive, I'm sure this has everything you need for it. Also, you've got, of course, bass and treble. I don't really need to go through that because that's typical EQ settings. Now, presence. What I like about presence is this can give me a little bit of you can use this if you're trying to emulate using a pick. It kind of really brings out string noise, which you think, well, that's not really a good thing, but sometimes it is if that's what you're going for as far as your sound. So let's put it down a little bit. That's pretty buttery smooth there. Bring that presence up. You can tell, you can hear a little bit more of that fret action as I'm switching. If you pull the bass back a little bit, give it some more treble and presence, you may be able to get more of a classic rock kind of jamming tone here. So it's really just a full bandwidth of sounds you can get with this. Another great thing is when you open the box and you pull it out, you won't feel completely overwhelmed, because they do have in the instruction booklet about, I want to say, like 16 different configurations they've mapped out for you based on different sounds. You got the SVT sound, a crimson, there's all kinds of stuff in there. It's been a while since I've looked at it, but it tells you exactly where to go with the settings. So if you think you know something that you're looking for, you can try all those settings and then adjust them. Then it's got even blank pictures with the knobs in there, so you can write down and mark what you've figured out and what you like to do, so you can find those later on. So this is a really great DI. As far as a DI, if you're looking for options, again, it's got just about everything you need. Over here, you've got the XLR out, which you do have a phantom power option. There's also the XLR out pad option, which is nice because this SansAmp actually produces quite a bit of gain. And I'm playing in churches where each Sunday there might be a different bass player on stage. The sound guys are left to every week having to redo the sound based on whoever's playing and what their gain output is. Mine always is on the high end compared to other guys because I use this board and it really amplifies the sound. So almost every time I get on stage and I get ready to adjust my in-ears or do anything else, I go ahead and pad it, because as soon as I put my in-ears in, or send it through the house, it's going to be clipping because there's so much more gain. So it's nice to have that pad on there. Also, for some reason, if you're not getting enough output or you need to send more output to an amp or something like that, there is a 1/4 inch out boost here, which provides a lot of boost. I'm sure if you go on the website, you can find the exact details on the decibels. I believe the pad is a 10 decibel cut. The boost is probably 10 as well. Might even be 20. On the back side here, you simply got your power input and your out and ins with the 1/4 inch. So really a great pedal. This was the first pedal that I bought, actually brand new. And when you're going direct a lot, if you're playing environments where you're not allowed to have an amp on stage, or you just don't want to lug the thing around, no problem. Get the SansAmp programmable driver, and you can take the tone with you. It's every knob that you'd find on a bass head, and maybe even a little bit more. You can change it on the fly, right at the press of a button, and really well made, full metal construction. I mean, if I haven't broken it, there's no way you can break it. So just a great pedal. I personally approve this one. So have fun and slap at the bass.